This is the Spirit and Wellness Show. News and information from a higher perspective. With your host, Harry Wilkinson.
Hello there. So glad to be able to be back on the air with you. This is your host, Harry Wilkinson, where we take a look at the days and weeks events, happenings in the world, happenings in technology, in politics, everything that we interact with or have a concern about or have a stake in or interact with during our daily and weekly rituals. And we take a step back and we look at it from a higher perspective. We look at it from the perspective of what we are creating in the world, what it's telling us about ourselves, and ultimately how we are able to use it to connect to a higher sense of self and purpose, and to expand to that higher nature. Because from my point of view, we have a higher nature. We have a higher self, if you will, a bigger self that is actually running the show in a way. I think of it as divine mind. It is for lack of a better term, it's the God part of us that can create and does create. So one of the things you might ask yourself is, why on earth would this version of me, the God me, if you will, create this kind of havoc? If that's what's going on in your world, or that's what you're seeing around you, that might be your opinion, or that might be your first question. And, there's lots of different answers to that. First of all, might be what you perceive as being havoc is actually not. Is actually orderly transition, orderly change, but you are just not perceiving it that way because it is changing certain things that you have gotten used to or that you are perhaps attached to. And so it is making things seem to you on the surface as being a bit crazy. And that's because you can only see from a certain vantage point, and higher self, the God part of you, the God part of me, sees a whole lot farther. So that's one kind of answer that one might give. Another is that we create these experiences just so we can have certain reactions, certain feelings, certain emotions, certain experiences that we don't really get at that higher level. In a way, kind of like the way that we turn on a television program or go to a movie or read a book to experiencing something that is not part of our ordinary existence, something that's thrilling and exciting and maybe a little bit scary, but sort of outside of what we would normally experience. And so we kind of have a vicarious kind of fun living through these experiences. Another person has used sort of the roller coaster analogy that, when you go out to an amusement park and you go on the roller coaster, you're excited to have the thrills, but it's also scary. Not everybody likes roller coasters, of course, but that's why the analogy is maybe not all that great. But if you happen to do roller coasters, that might be something that clarifies it for you. So that's what this show is all about. Taking that step back, taking that higher perspective, and seeing that these things in the world that might seem crazy to you might seem, unrecognizable to you, uh, and be baffling to you, are actually of your own creation, of our own creation. And that's quite a thing to wrap your head around. Hard to realize how much time has gone by. I just wasn't really aware that I've been doing the show for 5 years, but I have, and it's been really fun and a real good outlet for me. And I haven't focused a lot on, you know, building an audience or getting ads or things like that. I just feel like this type of show, um, as long as I'm able to access the tools that I need to, and it doesn't, uh, put me in a bind financially, that this kind of show I like offering, to people to listen to without having to, pay extra or uh, deal with ads or things of that nature. Of course, the kind of show I can provide for you, uh, you know, given that restriction is limited. Um, but I'm able to, bring in advertisers or uh, build in a bigger budget and expand and focus on marketing. Uh, Episodes. One of the more popular ones is an episode I did back on December 17th, 2017. It was the show just before Christmas, as I was sort of looking forward to what 2018 might be, and everybody else was, because New Year's was just a few weeks away. And so it was an episode on future trends, and I found it to be a bit interesting that people were very excited about this uh, in their lives, and wanted to continue, and wanted to know about, what the future was going to hold for us. May have been part of the season or what have you, but in any case, I've decided to do a sort of follow up on that episode, uh, to kind of put things back into perspective, and so probably going to cover some of the same ground as I did in that show, but um, hopefully it will not be a problem for you, and perhaps it will even be something of a blessing for you. So let's take a look now at some future trends, and also, of course, we're going to uh, do our usual wellness sort of discussion about things that you might be able to add to your diet, or do for yourself, that will make you a little healthier, keep you a little bit more stress free than you might be experiencing right now. So I'm more than happy to do something like that for you. So hopefully we'll have time to do that as well. But first of all, let's talk about future trends. Uh, because in my last sort of program, I talked about transitions, life transitions, and you can look at this as sort of a broader, worldwide life transition, because the globe, the world, is in a transitory state at this point in time. Slowly, yes, but most assuredly changing. And so, since we are living in a transition time, it's interesting to take a look at what some of the experts are saying are the future trends that will continue and things to look out for and so on. So, uh, this is now coming from a website called globalchange.com. A gentleman by the name of Patrick Dixon. He's a futurist and an advisor to lots of global corporations and industries and about 60 nations across the world. He's got this book called The Future of Everything. Um, and I've read a lot of it, some of it, and I've read certainly this article, and he has, I think, some interesting insights. So that's why I'm going to share it with you. Number one, fall of technology and connectivity costs. Right? So, and this is seen in a 40-year trend, which will continue for at least another 40 years because of new discoveries, innovation, economies of scale, and human need. So, in other words, the cost of hooking up, connecting your technology, is going to continue to go down. Um, and he cites, for example, solar cells. Those are the batteries that get their energy from the sun. Their prices continue to plunge. One of the things, and it's kind of not really a secret, but since it's not being talked about a lot, it kind of comes across as a secret, is the fact that our alternative sources of energy, such as solar and wind and all of that, have gotten so much cheaper that they are actually now cheaper than coal and oil put together, which is why those industries are going down the tubes and will do so, even though many people are trying to hold on to these industries because of the jobs that they provide. Those jobs will more and more increasingly be taken over by automation, which is something we're going to talk about later. So, more and more people will have access to cheap electrical power and connections across the world. More access to the mobile web, cell phone devices, and 3G and 4G technology. And by 2030, trillions of items will be joined up online, sharing information in the greatest and most explosive phase of digital expansion. Uh, there will be 1 billion children alive in the world. Never again in human history will so many children be growing up at the same time. All will see your lifestyle in advertising or on TV or the web, and all will aspire to middle class wealth, education, healthcare, and the global population will peak around 11 billion by 2060, if you're around then. These 1 billion children will all be adults in less than 18 years, and most will have children of their own in 25 years. Their views and lifestyles will dominate our planet for the next 50 to 60 years. So that's going to be interesting. 85% of humankind living in emerging markets in 10 years. That's almost everyone. So if you live in a developed nation, I think some really